Good morning. This is Hans from Walter's Gardens, here to talk a little bit about hostas. And this is one of my favorite hostas here. This is Hosta Halcyon, and this was developed in the 1960s by Eric Smith from England. And he was revolutionary at that time because what he did was he crossed a really large blue hosta, Cebollina elegans, with a very small hosta with green leaves. This is Tardiflora. And he created a new race of hostas called the Tardianas, and Halcyon is a nice example of this. That cross was extremely difficult to make during that time because Cebollina elegans blooms in June. Tardiflora blooms very late at the end of the season, hence Tardiflora in October. But in the nursery industry, people divide hostas, move them around, and there was a chance flower that happened, so he took advantage of that and made this hosta. This is probably one of the best blue hostas in the world, and it opened the door for a new race of hostas that was smaller than the large Cebollina type and bluer than the Tardifloras. Most hostas in large nurseries are propagated from tissue culture, and there was a lab in England called Plant that was tissue culturing Hosta Halcyon, and one of the lab technicians by the name of June found this beautiful form with a nice yellow center and a blue margin, and this was named after her, Hosta June. And this is one of the most popular favorite hostas we have. And it's hard to believe that this has been around since the early 1990s. Over 20 years ago, I intentionally converted this form of June to a tetraploid, which we call touch of class. So this has twice as much DNA. Instead of having 2N, it's 4N, but the leaves are very thick, has very good slug resistance. The margins are very wide, and the plant is larger and more robust. Continuing down the line in the hosta group with the Halcyon forms here at Walter's Gardens, we have this one, which is called First Frost. This was found in another laboratory by my dear friend Patricia Skolnick in a batch of Halcyon. And this has a beautiful narrow white margin. It starts out creamy yellow in the spring, and then as it matures, it goes to a white color. This was named First Frost because this hosta just remains impeccable throughout the season until the first frost in the fall. Here at Walter's Gardens, we found a form of that with much wider foliage, a more dramatic margin, which we call autumn frost. And you can see how dramatic that variegation is, and this is in the Proven Winner program. And last but certainly not least, we have this one called High Society, and this is one that I developed during my days at Shady Oaks Nursery. This is basically the opposite of Autumn Frost. It has a beautiful creamy white center and a very wide blue margin. This is just very classy. It makes a great plant for the specimen use in a hosta border or as an anchor in the shaded landscape.